Hello and welcome. You're watching France 24. Coming up in Marseille, firefighters stabilized the wildfire that brought flames to the outskirts of France's second largest city. The blaze, though, far from extinguished, more than 300 treated for smoke inhalation. Fire is also easing, it seems, in Spain's Catalonia region. Mathilde Ceilles of the Figaro newspaper is in the Mediterranean port city. As Ukraine picks up the pieces from another massive onslaught of drones, more than 700, we'll review that cabinet meeting in Washington where Donald Trump seems to have disowned his defense secretary's order to pause anti-aircraft battery deliveries for Kyiv. A surprise quintet of African leaders invited for lunch at the White House. The presidents of Liberia, Senegal, Gabon, Mauritania, and Guinea-Bissau. David Smith in Washington tells us why. Coming up in the next hour, the France 24 debate. Will Kenya's heavy-handed police silence Gen Z protesters? 50 killed in the past 2 weeks of demonstrations. What can a largely leaderless movement obtain in the face of this crackdown? President Ruto, who insists he's not budging, was this, as some have called it, an avoidable showdown? This in one of Africa's few democracies. Your reactions on the hashtag F24debate. Hello everyone, I'm François Picard. Firefighters in Marseille say the blaze has been stabilized. The one that brought flames to the 16th arrondissement, forcing hundreds of evacuation and hundreds more to go to hospital with smoke inhalation. Stabilized, but not yet put out. France, which is preparing for the worst. It's that firefighters are nothing new in the French Riviera. However, this early in the season, that's what's alarming the locals. Charlotte Hughes has the story.
In this village in southwestern France, local authorities are doing all they can to protect the environment.
There's a high risk of wildfires. Access to the hills is banned until the end of the week.
A ban that suggests a grueling summer ahead, with the threat of fires looming large. Last year in France, 4,591 outbreaks were recorded by the start of July. 5,907 have already been reported for the same period this year. Partly responsible for this increase is a particularly rainy March that made vegetation more dense. With the June heatwave and periods of drought, forests have become highly flammable. In Marseille, there was 99% less rainfall this year than usual, a lack of rain that has been worsening for several years now, as is the case in the city of Narbonne, where only 5.4 millimetres of rain fell last month. For firefighters, this points to a high-risk summer. Conditions in the 30-30-30 rule are a particular cause for concern. Temperatures in excess of 30 degrees, winds in excess of 30 kilometres per hour, and air humidity below 30%. A dangerous mix, especially when combined with a particular kind of wind known as tramontane wind.
It's a continental wind, which means it has much less humidity than if it came from the sea. This means it acts like a hairdryer on areas that are already fully dried out.
In light of the increased fire risks, new technologies are being developed, including cameras that use AI for early detection of blazes.
And for more, let's cross to Marseille. Mathilde Ceilles is correspondent for Le Figaro newspaper. Thank you for being with us here on France 24.
Thank you.
So the order was keep the windows closed. Is that the case behind you there?
Not where we lived, but actually it was now when the people are allowed to go back to their places, what the authorities said, because the fire is almost put out. The authorities said that like a couple minutes ago. But yeah, at the beginning it was really, really frightening because I've lived there for like 10 years, and for the very first time we smelled the fire. We still saw also, you know, the smoke, even if it was quite far away from where we work here at the center of Marseille. That's why it was quite impressive for the people here in Marseille.
Yeah, for people who don't know the city, you have the old port, and then around it is hills, and it's in this. It's in the hills of the 16th arrondissement where they were the most worried.
Yeah, and the reason why it was quite the authorities were quite frightened about what happened is because the 15th arrondissement, as you said, is the place where poor people live. Lots of people live there, and we were quite frightened of the damages of the fire could down. But hopefully there were no people died in this fire, and but it could have been really worse.
Yeah, the fires in that northern part, and as you can see from this map, the fire is located between the city and the airport.
Yeah. Actually, the fire started because of a car which burned on the highway nearby, and because of the winds, because the winds blew really strong. The fire spread to the hills first, to a city near Marseille, 15 kilometers from Marseille, called Les Pennes-Mirabeau. And then in 2 hours, the fire burned 30 hectares, which shows how fast the fire went yesterday.
Mathilde Ceilles, it's been a week where in the French Parliament they've rolled back some environmental legislation. This is a topic that had seemed to go on the back burner in the rough and tumble of French politics. You know, how to decarbonize the economy, how to prepare for the new normal with increased extreme weather events. Where you are, is the conversation changed now?
I mean, I don't think I understand. Sorry.
Does this put a newfound urgency when it comes to the whole question of climate change, which had been on the back burner?
I'm not sure, actually. Firstly, now in Marseille, we have to, go on and try to help people which have lost their houses and so on. I think after we will talk about the political consequences that people should think about. But now it's not the priority now in Marseille. Because, 10 houses have been completely destroyed, 4,400 people have been evacuated. So now the most important thing now is after the crisis.
Mathilde Ceilles, many thanks for joining us from the Mediterranean port city of Marseille.
Thank you for hosting me.